To begin cooking your belt, remove the top of the press via the screws or clamps, depending upon the press's design. You will then remove any upper plate, molten cloth, silicone impregnated paper, or Teflon. Each belt requires a different build of the press. Of course, the press first has a platen, then the heat plate, then of course there's the molten cloth, followed by either silicone impregnated paper or Teflon. Some belts will require 2 pieces of molten cloth, and silicone impregnated paper or just Teflon. When installing the belt, you want to ensure that the fingers are in the center of both the X and Y axis of the heat plate. You can utilize a tape measure to assist you in finding the center. You want to use hold-down bars, 1-inch aluminum or steel, ensuring that they are clean so they do not mark the belt. You also want to utilize what is termed flow bar. This is extra belt that is used to ensure that there's material inside the entire heat range of the press. When placing the second part of the splice in the press, ensure that you have a square cut by looking and making sure there are straight line edges between the belt and the flow bar. When cleaning the belt, you want to use either denatured alcohol or some form of isopropyl alcohol. This ensures that no contaminants are cooked into the cover of the belt. When placing the belt in the press to be cooked, make sure that the finger splice is in the center of the 2 platens. The fluke lead can be placed either in the heating platen, or an alternative use is on the flow bar of the belt. Ensure that the center of the fluke lead is in the center of the heat range, both X and Y. It should be at least 1 inch from the edge of the heat range to make sure that you have the proper reading. We finished the build by installing silicone impregnated paper. For this particular belt, it uses silicone paper because we want a matte finish. Teflon can be used for a glossier finish. And the manufacturer's joining instructions require just a heat plate if they do not require molten cloth. Then lower the lid and use either your clamps or screws to hold it down. Programming the box, you'll hit mode twice and then up arrow. Then you'll hit mode until you get the first temperature reading. You'll utilize the up and down arrows to enter in your temperature. Then you will hit mode a number of times until you get the second display for hour. Rarely do we ever use this for cooking a belt. This is the dwell time at the temperature. Usually it is in minutes. Use the up and down arrows to enter in the dwell time. You will then hit the mode button until you reach the second temperature display, utilizing the up and down arrows to enter in the temperature. Hit display, then hit the run button twice and it will run the first file. You will then see the temperature read in the bottom of the digital display. When finished with the belt, we remove the top, the plate, silicone paper, hold down bars and clamps. When installing on a line on site, it is helpful to have nylon in order to cut the belt out. You could use additional belt, but you must be careful not to cut through it and damage the Teflon and molten cloth underneath. Align your square so that it is straight and parallel with the run direction of the belt, and always cut on the side of the flow bar so that if your blade is to stray, it will only cut flow bar and it will not damage your belt, resulting in the need to cook it again. Repeat this procedure on the other side of the belt. Then you can reclaim your fluke lead. And then you can remove, of course, the bottom platen and the plate if you're installing on site. Make sure to check for any pitting or uncooked parts of the belt on the cover, and of course look underneath to make sure that you did not have too much bleed through.